English. What's up, guys? What's up, guys? Welcome to our channel. And then you're gonna say, "What's up, guys? Welcome to our channel" in Spanish. And then the rest will be in English, okay?
Why?
I want you to say that, please.
Bienvenidos a nosotros canal.
Yes. What's up, guys? What's up, guys? Welcome to our channel.
Wait, we're not recording.
It's a practice.
I know how to speak Spanish.
Yeah, but you're not looking at that.
Let's get into it. So last night, Lance and I were having dinner, and it was about 10:30. We had a really late dinner, and then about 30 minutes later, he got this killer pain in his stomach, and he couldn't move. He was just like in fetal position, just like it was killing him. And I kept asking him where it hurt, but he was in so much pain it was bringing him to like tears, and he couldn't tell where the pain was. So he I started feeling around his stomach, and he was saying it was behind his belly button, and I was trying to think, could it be his appendix? So I was trying to feel around, the lower right side of his abdomen, and and we just couldn't tell. So I kept saying, okay, I'm gonna call the ambulance. I'm gonna call the ambulance, and he was like, no, don't call the ambulance. So he was really holding out, and he has a high, pain, a high threshold for pain. So he was just holding out. Then the throwing up started. He was feeling nauseous. He was feeling dizzy. He was cold and clammy. He was starting to break out in cold sweat. And then he started to throw up. He was just throwing up, and it was going on for a good 15, 20 minutes. And I was like, I'm not going to have anything happen to you. We're going to go to the doctor. We're going to go to the hospital. We're going to the emergency room right now. I'm not going to let anything happen to you. And he was like, no. Kept waving his finger at me. And I'm like, no, I don't know what to do. If this is your appendix and it's going to rupture, you can die. Like, we've got to go. He didn't want to go. He doesn't like to go to the hospital. And finally, he broke down and he was like, call 911. So I call 911, and I guess I got 911 National. And 911 National says, I get on the phone and they're like, hello, this is 911. What is the address for your emergency? So I give them our address, and they're like, okay, can you repeat that for me again? And I repeat the address, and then they're like, what is the phone number? And I'm like, okay. So then I give them our phone number, and they're like, okay, can you repeat that for me again? So I'm like, all right. So I repeat it for them again. Then they're like, what is the nature of your emergency? So I tell them, and then they're like, they let me go through the whole song and dance, and they're like, oh, hang on one second. We're going to transfer you to the local 911. I was like, okay. So then they transfer me to local 911. And so they go, 911, what is the address of your emergency? So I was like, okay. So I go through it again, and I give them the address, and they were like, can you repeat that one more time? So I was like, okay. So I repeated it one more time. Then they were like, what is the telephone number in case we get disconnected? So I gave them the phone number, and they were like, can you repeat that one more time? So I was like, okay. So then they were like, state the nature of your emergency. So I was trying to explain to them what the emergency was. They were like, oh, you're on the phone with law enforcement, 911. Sounds like a medical emergency. We're going to transfer you to 911 medical. So I was like, okay. So meanwhile, the whole time Lance is like convulsing. He's sweaty. He's cold. He's clammy. He's, he's still throwing up. He can't move. He can't sit. He's just on the bed throwing up. So I'm like, okay. So I hear 911 emergency. What's the address of your emergency? So I give them our address, and then they're like, okay, can you repeat that again? So I'm like, okay. So I repeat the address, and then they're like, can you give us the phone number of your emergency? So I give them the phone number, And then they're like, can you repeat the phone number for us? So I was like, okay. So I repeated the phone number. And then she's like, what's the nature of your emergency? So I tell them what the nature of the emergency is. And then um, she's like, okay, uh, I'm sending an ambulance right now. Please, whatever you do, don't hang up. Stay on the line with me so I can give you instruction. So I was like, okay. So I go ahead and I go ahead and I stay on the phone, and she's like, I have to ask you a few questions. Is he conscious? The whole time in the background, this time Lance he's like, fuck, are they fucking coming? Fuck, what the fuck? Fuck, fuck. And I'm like, do you hear that? and, and she said, well, is he conscious? And I'm like, there's another voice on the line. Do you hear that? That's him. Yes, he's conscious. He's very much conscious. And she's like, okay, well, don't let him fall asleep. And I'm trying to keep a straight face the whole time, and I'm thinking to myself, geez, he would love to fall asleep right now, but he can't fucking fall asleep. He's in super pain. So I'm like, I don't think that would be a problem. So then she's like, oh, okay, is he throwing up? And I'm like, yes, I said that about 3 or 4 times. Yes, he's throwing up. So then she was like, okay, well, turn the lights on, um, clean the apartment, make sure there's nothing that shouldn't be out, and make sure that the paramedics can get through. And I was like, okay. And she was like, yeah, just make sure there aren't any illegal paraphernalia out. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know that that's what they tell you in 911. But I was like, all right, whatever. So I wasn't dressed. Lance was in his underwear. And so I'm telling him he has to get dressed, but he's in too much pain to get dressed. So I get a robe out of the bathroom. Then it's like dark in our apartment. So I'm trying to watch out for them. I'm trying to get dressed. I'm still on the phone answering questions for her. And I bang into the bed. I hit my shin on the bed. All right, we have a solid oak bed. And so I run into the bed, trying to run towards the window. So now I'm like, fuck, fuck, fuck. So I'm cursing. We're both cursing. And finally, I see the ambulance roll by. So I run downstairs and I go to let them in. Um, I run out the door and I forget my keys, so I almost lock myself out of the apartment. I run back to the apartment. I get the keys. I run downstairs. I let the paramedics in, and they're like, wow, this is a really nice neighborhood. And they were like, we didn't know that they had apartments around here. And I'm like, okay, you're going to have a hard time getting up. It's really narrow upstairs. And I was just like, I know they were trying to make small talk and trying to probably make me feel comfortable, but I just, when you're not in the mood for it. Plus it was, at this point, it was like 12:30 at night. So what wound up happening was that they came up, they asked some questions, and Lance, when they walked up behind Lance. Lance was staring at the window, and when they were approaching him, they were asking him, they were like, hey, how are you? And they walked in, and the room was still dark because they didn't have time to turn on the lights, and he was in no condition to turn on the lights. So they were asking him, hi, how are you? What's your name? And he was just looking up at the ceiling. It was like the scene out of, if you guys have ever seen what's that movie with when they make fun of Michael Jackson? It's like Paranormal Activity when Michael Jackson is like underneath the blanket. Anyway, he looked like that. So I thought it was hilarious because anyway, it was just too much. But yeah, it was
hilarious?
You were staring up at the ceiling and the paramedics were trying to talk to you and you were just like So then I was doing all the talking for him, and they wanted to know his name, his birthday, what he was allergic to, if anything, any medications that he was on, blah blah blah, things that I could answer. So I answered
We're
all of their
building on that.
medication. I answered all of their medication questions and stuff like that, and then we went to the hospital. Well, we took a ride. We got into the ambulance. They finally got him downstairs, and they got him to the ambulance. And then the paramedic is still going on about the neighborhood. He's like, "Wow, this neighborhood is really nice." And he's like, "I didn't even know that there were apartments here, and I used to live here, like 2 blocks over." And I'm like, "Oh God, just get us to the fucking hospital." So I'm staring at my phone to try to like break the conversation. And so finally, we're going to the hospital. So we get to the hospital, and I get out of the ambulance, and they're like, "Oh, just wait in the waiting room, and they'll come get you as soon as they're done entering him into the computer or whatever." So I get to the hospital. I'm in the waiting room now, and Lance comes out like not even 2 minutes, and they rate his case like, because the pain has gone away, because the pains are coming and going, they're like rolling. He wasn't that high a priority right then and there. So they wheelchair him out, or he's on a wheelchair. They wheel him out. The paramedics wheel him out, and within like 10 minutes, he gets called into triage. While he was in triage, they're asking him the normal triage questions, and the pain started again. So he starts up again and he's in so much pain, but he's cursing, and he's like, "Oh fuck, 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 fuck me, oh God, fuck, 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 oh fuck," and he's in like a lot of pain, genuine pain. So one of the nurses is like, "You have to breathe, sweetheart, you have to breathe," and I'm just looking at her, and I'm just staring at her, but I'm not saying anything, because you're trying to get
I am fucking
you're
breathing.
trying to get your loved one help. So I'm not saying anything.
I was pissed.
And he's getting upset, and I'm just trying to shush him. So I'm just going shh, shh, because that's not going to get him anything, because they're doing their job, and that's all it is when you go to the hospital, is them doing their job, and they've seen that and some and worse, and they've been called worse, and they've been gone through worse, and you're not going to get anywhere by cursing at them. So I'm just trying to shush him down, even though he's in an immense amount of pain. So, so whatever. So we get over there, and, because we're former addicts and stuff like that, I think that the bottom line is that it was not, thank God, his appendix, but I think that they thought that we were looking for like medication, like pain medication or whatever, even though we told them that he was on methadone. I think that they thought that we were looking for like pain meds or whatever, which I didn't realize that at the time, that because Lance, once they gave him pain medicine, like they hooked him up to an IV, and they had to give him 3 different types of medication, one of them being a really, really strong pain med that they had to administer in the hospital. And they did send him home with pain medication and with another type of anti-nausea medication, but said they said it was some other kind of they said it was like a viral thing, but the pain medication that they sent him home with was not an opiate. But I think that they thought, and when we went to the methadone clinic, and we told the physicians over there like what had happened, they also thought that the emergency room physician or staff were under the impression that, yeah, he might have been in pain, but maybe he was fishing for meds or pain meds or whatever. So they recommended that we don't go to that emergency room anymore, because he had been treated there in the past, and they probably have a record of him there. So, but the long and the short of it is that it was a fucking crazy night. We didn't get seen by the doctor until about 3 in the morning. Like, we were taken back 10 minutes after being there, but we were in the emergency room until well, 3 o'clock in the morning, he got his, medication and actually was seen by the ER physician. But we didn't go home until 6 o'clock is when we walked out. So we went in. So this whole thing started for Lance at like 10:45, 11 o'clock, and didn't end until about 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:30. So it was just a fucking crazy, 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 crazy night. Then to top it all off, we had to walk from the hospital to the methadone clinic. Then from the methadone clinic, we had to walk to our house. And all this, and Lance was just, he was administered that medication. Then we left the hospital and he was still in pain. And he had to walk, to the clinic. And then we had to, once we were in the clinic, they wouldn't dose him because they had to know what kind of medication he was given at the hospital. So we had to go through that shit at the clinic. And then once we finished there and they gave him his medicine, then we had to come home. And then Lance slept the whole day, and I had to get his medication filled and everything. Thank you very much for those of you who reached out to me through Facebook. You guys know who you are, to ask me how Lance was doing. I didn't even know that I had accepted some of you uh, on my Facebook. I completely forgot, and I know some of you I didn't accept, and you reached out to me in Messenger, and I never look at my Messenger, and it just so happened that I was super bored in the hospital, and I had looked at my Messenger, and so anyway, I really, really want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, um, for reaching out to me and asking me how he was, and he really, really appreciates that. So thank you very much. It means a lot to us. So that is my crazy story time. That's what happened when you guys looked at my Facebook and said that when you looked at my Facebook or you looked at Lance's Facebook and we were talking about that we had to go to the emergency room, we really were in the emergency room. So I'm going to include a pic. My thumbnail is us at the emergency room. So you'll see that. All right, guys, I love you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow me on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. You'll see the links. They're all correct. The Snapchat, you can hold up your phone and take a picture of my snap code and you'll get onto our Snapchat automatically. Tell your friends, write our YouTube name down, write it everywhere. Tell them I told you to do it if you get in trouble. And yeah, tell everybody to follow us. Like and subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. Don't forget. Please, please, please subscribe. So if you like this video, smash that like button. See you guys on the next one.